The desert father Moses the Strong, otherwise known as Moses the Robber or Moses the Black, was dramatically converted to Christ from a life of violent crime, and his mortal remains are buried near here in the beautiful Paramaios monastery. Born in 330 AD of African Ethiopian heritage, Moses was a man of huge physical stature. He was accused of theft and actually suspected of murder, and so he lost his job with an Egyptian government official and began just roaming the Nile Valley instead with a marauding gang of 75 violent outlaws. One day, on the run from local authorities, Moses fled into the desert and found shelter here in Wadi el Natrun, in one of the many monasteries and communities here. Moses was touched by the hospitality of the monks and impressed by their peaceful, prayerful lives. And he was also, I think, compelled by the gospel of Christ. Repenting very readily of his many sins, Moses was baptized and admitted as a member of this community. But unsurprisingly, he struggled to adjust to the monastic life. He was sorely tempted by his old ways and often felt like a failure. Seeing this, the abbot, a man named Isidore, took Moses onto the roof not far from here in the monastery early one morning. And together they watched the first rays of dawn just coming up over the horizon. Only slowly do the rays of the sun drive away the night and usher in a new day, said Isidore. And only slowly does one become a perfect contemplative. Slowly the Sun of Righteousness did indeed dawn upon Moses. His heart was gradually transformed and his wisdom became renowned. I especially love the story about a meeting that was called to discuss some suitable punishment for a brother who had sinned. And Moses just refused to turn up. His superiors insisted that he came, and when he did, he arrived with a sack of sand over his shoulder that was leaking. "My own sins run out behind me and I don't see them," said Moses, "so why am I coming to judge the errors of another?" On hearing his words, the other brothers decided simply to forgive the erring monk. On another occasion, when someone asked Moses how to grow in his faith, he replied very simply, "Go sit in your cell and your cell will teach you everything." At the age of 75, bandits came to attack his monastery. The brothers wanted to defend themselves, but Moses, the former violent criminal, remember, he had become their leader by now and he forbade any form of violence. Instead, he urged them to flee and refused to come with them. "I've been waiting for this day for many years," he explained. And then he cited the words of Jesus, "All who take the sword will perish by the sword." In the event, 7 brothers opted to stay behind with Moses that day, and refusing to defend themselves, all but one were martyred. That was 1600 years ago, and Moses' bones lie buried in the monastery not far from here, but his life continues to testify to the enduring power of the gospel to save and to slowly transform the very worst of sinners, people just like you and me.